Well, hello, Churchy Church. Hello, porch. I'm going to be your light bulb for the evening. Please gather around. I'm stirring up this here coffee. I'm going to be really natural, just really hats off tonight. Get it? All right, so I have a great story to tell you, and I want to relax into that story. I'm going to calm down and take a breath first because my horse is excited about where we're going to ride. Whew, take a breath with me. It's good to see y'all. Hi. How y'all been? I feel like Dora the Explorer. Like I'm gonna talk to the camera and wait for your response, even though I obviously can't hear you. Get down in the comment section. Talk to me while I slurp. Okay, hang on. Oh, I love this message. Tonight I have given the Lord permission to really run through me. So tonight we're gonna see what I love to feel. And that's the Lord working through me. Woo! Because it's going to take over my mouth like a damn holy river water, and it's going to be amazing. This is a great story. Slow down. My horse is excited. I tell you, this is a great story. And it's fresh on my mind, and I just captured it. And sometimes I sit on messages, and they diffuse, and they kind of lose themselves. And this one's very fresh and vibrant, and I'll be telling it in a very impassioned way. And hopefully you'll get to see where God pokes through, where Jesus pokes through. So Jesus would love to sit here and tell you this story himself. He can't be here tonight. Well, that's just simply put because you'd shit your pants if he was, right? So due to that, we can barely handle the fact that I'm here telling the story. Some of us. So I'm gonna tell a story. All right, so we don't freak out. I mean, think of it. If Jesus was really here, we couldn't handle it. So the messages come through. Mouths on babes, billboards, radio signs, and girls in hats. Being funny, but anyway, this is going to be a serious good story. I'm going to smoke my cigarette. You're more than welcome to too. All right. Story time. This is a great story. Sad, true, and it perplexed me too. But I got to tell you about it. So. Last evening, I was hanging out on my porch. Of course, that's where I guess I live and breathe. So I'm hanging out on my porch, and I learn of a news story in Texas. Now, the news story did not make national news or nothing like that. It's just a crappy news story of somebody doing something crappy, and those happen everywhere. But this one happened to hit my ears, so I sat with it. And I'm going to tell you what the news story was about. Apparently, there was a man in Texas who was being evicted from a low rent or something like that apartment complex, multi-living complex. And he set fire to the complex. He had dressed in black. He armed himself with a shotgun and went across the street. So as the arson took place and people ran out of the multiplex building from the fire, he shot them. So he also then shot at the fire department when they showed up, to which the police department were called. They came out, and they euthanized this man on the spot. So poor Texas had to report of, this man's diabolical, and that's what the news said. He was out of his mind, said somebody else. So this man took 3 other souls with him in a diabolical way. And all right, so there's that. Now, when I heard the news story, usually I don't stick my Periscope out into the real world because I don't want to hear the news. I don't want to. I'd rather be working for the Lord in the kingdom and be working on the underbelly, undercurrent of things where I see best. I see the things that aren't here, and that's the spiritual world. And I do my work, and I like to peep into the 3D world a little bit. I don't like to look at the news. It doesn't do me any good. I can't stop those kind of potatoes from growing. So I work on the other end of it, like changing the world, changing hearts, So I just happened to catch this news story. And what I did at that moment, once I thought about it a little bit, I was like, man, what a horrible person to do that. Can you imagine? And of course I sat there with it. And I typically started an ongoing conversation with Jesus when I just out of nowhere, I asked Jesus, out loud across the table. It's not like, I just kind of out louded it, and I'm like, as I got done sitting with it, like, man, that sucks. What a craphead guy this is. I used a stronger word, and I asked Jesus. I was like, after I said to myself, like, that guy's going to hell. Like, man, that's the guy. He's gonna burn in hell. Boy, And I asked God out loud. I was like, what do you do with somebody like that? What do you do with somebody like that? Golly. I actually thought it was a rhetorical question. I don't think I was actually asking God. To which I say Jesus. To me, there's a little bit of a difference. I'm gonna swing past. But I didn't actually think I was actually asking Jesus about this, but he then proceeded to respond to me. And I was privy to watch something very profound, and doing so through seeing it in my mind, feeling it. And in seeing all that, I come back with the story to tell. And, all right, so let's tell the story. I got it. Come on, so the cigarette smoking itself, and my coffee's getting cold. Hold on. We're real and raw here, people. Because, come on, the no bullshit filter of it, right? Watch how Jesus works. I love it. Let's drive by a Christian's house and be like, oh, she's cushing and smoking. Yes, but watch the profoundness of the story that comes out of my mouth still. She's a girl preacher. Shush. Watch the beauty of the story. Still show up for Jesus no matter what you're doing. It's your heart he's looking at, not your end table, not your t-shirt, not your sex, your creed, your skin color, your validations, your papers. We're all just a pile of potential to Jesus. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. I hope that I'm a living example of that, if anything. Layman. Jesus still loves the layman. All right, let's get into telling the story. So I guess I was sitting there at the table with all this bad news going, oh, Jesus, what would you do? What do you do with this guy? Rhetorical. But Jesus answered it. And answering it, all of a sudden, we're going to go there. Get y'all truck, get in a God truck, buckle up. We're going to take a vision. Red Dirt wrote it. We need like a music thing, like, right here. We're in a vision. You get in a vision with me. Get in a vision. It's like get in a truck. Get in a vision with me. All right, so now that we're in the truck, let's ride. I'm going to take you where I was taken by Jesus last night. So when I asked this question, Jesus, what do you do with this man? He doesn't have a name. He's not identified to the public yet, so we're just going to call him Man from Texas. We'll call him the Texan. Okay? We'll call him the Dirty Texan. Okay? Because between you and me, we think what he did was pretty damn dirty. So we're going to nickname this man the Dirty Texan. He's deceased. The cops killed him. So that means he's in the spiritual form. I know he's got to be around Jesus somewhere. At his feet somewhere. So I asked Jesus, what are you doing with a man like this? And it was like all of a sudden, it was take your daughter to work day. Next thing you know, I realized that I see Jesus there. Jesus and I, we spent some time together. I'm not shocked at being around him. I used to, and I still am. I'm still in awe of it. But all right. So vision goes. Jesus standing there. I'm take your daughter to work day. I'm in my blue jeans and my shirt, and I came with a spiral notebook. I'm going to watch, witness, and take note. The man that is barely visible to even be a man to me is this wadded up person in a fetal position, literally at Jesus' feet. And the sound coming from this person is like horrible. It's the worst, emptiest, hollowest, agonizingly lonely cry I've ever heard. It's coming from a grown man. And I realized that this is the Dirty Texan at Christ's feet. You're going to, snap. Jesus seriously going to answer my question and show me. Because I did ask, what do you do with a man like that? You're about, I think, to see what he's going to do with a man like that. Okay, drop your narrow minds at the door and open your big old hearts, and let's watch what Jesus does to this man. This man is bawling at Jesus' feet, wadded up in a feet, but he's not a man at all now. He's a baby. A scared baby. at the foot of absolution, because this is absolute, the foot of Jesus, after you're dead. I mean, we all have to go there. Let's just draw a big zero, a big circle at Jesus' feet. We're all going to lie in that circle. Because that's absolution. Absolute zero. Zero is not nothing. Zero tells us the value of everything that comes before it and after it. You got that here. Jesus is that plumb. He's that circle. He's absolution. He's absolute zero. So this man is standing or lying on the ground, and he sees the Lord the way that I do, the way that some of us do. He's alive. He didn't die, and he got off those church walls. Okay? And he's still teaching, just like he's never stopped teaching us. The Bible's full of people that he taught that weren't good enough to be taught. And their stories of their interactions with Jesus and what they learned, it makes up the Bible. Why did that stop? It didn't stop. He still does it with us today. And part of me showing up is to show you that that remnant of God is still working. So, all right, let's get back to the journey. What are we looking at, Lenny? We're looking at Texas man is wadded up in this circle of absolution at Jesus' feet. Now, Jesus looks over at me, right? And he says, Laney, every one that I meet comes to me this way. Imagine Jesus being a king of a kingdom, and there's all these people, and each person comes to visit him. He never really knows what we look like, how we talk, how we stand, our mannerisms are nothing, because we just all end up in this piled up absolution zero. We fit into this tiny circle at his feet, sounding like the Texas man. And what was the Texas man doing, Laney? Oh, he was crying. He was screaming out, I'm sorry, oh Lord, are you real? Oh my God. He got it. Jesus was real and that he's dead and this is the hour. And it hit him like panic. So he's crying that way and he's screaming, I'm sorry. I'm watching this. Oh boy, he's saying, I'm sorry. Jesus looked at me and he said, all of you come to me this way. Caesar came to me this way. Constantine laid in that circle. Your mother, your grandmother laid in this circle. You will lay in this circle. Everyone lays in this circle. I'm going to write that down. I'm supposed to take note. Remember, that's why I'm watching this. I'm going to take note that we all will lay in that circle of absolution. Okay? I see that man is crying saying, I'm sorry. What's Jesus going to do with that? Jesus looks at this man and he says, stand up. And the man stands up. And then he says, pick up your mat. The next thing, these two embrace. Texas man hugs Jesus. Jesus hugs Texas man. And then, like, in the blink of an eye, Texas man is now, like, illuminated and glowing and just beautiful, radiating. He's in a white robe. He's standing to the side of Christ, like, in a blink of an eye. He looks like a choir boy from heaven. You know? Call Heaven Magazine. Tell him one of the choir boys who is. You know what I'm saying? He was just on the floor. A pile of goo, a pile of potential. And then he says, pick up your mat. And he hugged him. And then all of a sudden, this man he looks like he's part of heaven. He looks like he belongs there. Wow. I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. And I reminded Jesus. Well, I was about to remind Jesus about what this man did, but I didn't have to. Because the next three people in line were the victims of the Texas man. That's what I'm understanding. The next person in line starts proclaiming to Jesus, hey, that man standing right next to you is why I'm here. He set my house on fire, and he shot me like a dog in the street. I didn't deserve it. It was unfair. I wasn't ready. I'm here by accident. I got caught by surprise. I just want to go get my kids. And that person starts to panic and realize that they too are dead of the body and literally standing in front of Christ. Something the church had told them would happen their entire lives. They thought they had time. And now this person, this victim number one, is now understanding as they talk and they tell Jesus what this man had done, and they're here by accident. They start to realize that they're here at that 11th hour. And you know what they did? They collapsed into a pile of goo in that absolution circle and started screaming and crying, just like the Texas man, and started saying, I'm sorry. I thought I had time. I'm sorry. I thought I was getting ready. Jesus looked at me again and he said, see how they all come to me like this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wrote that down. He said, pick up your mat. And that victim one picked up their mat, hugged Jesus, and then within an instant is standing in a white robe, radiant, glowing, chest stuck out. And they are now standing right next to the very person that shot them. But they're both brothers in Christ now. Are you just as shocked as I? But I'm not shocked. As I'm witnessing this, so I can run back and tell it, Mary Magdalene style, run back and tell it. You guys, Jesus is exactly, and I remember asking the Lord, like, what's going on here? What, we all just get in? He said, Lainey, heaven's my heart, and I am the heart of heaven. Let me hear that. What? I gotta write that down, Jesus. Yes, write that down, Lainey. Write down what I said. He said, heaven is my heart. And he said, I am the heart of heaven. Being in heaven is being in my heart. He gave space and grace to the Texas men, and he gave space and grace to the victims. Before I knew it, there were 4 people in white robes standing behind God singing hallelujah. Praise be his name. A great work done in me. I couldn't believe it. I gotta run back and tell everybody this. What can I not believe? That Jesus is exactly who he said he is? Our Savior. He's not in control of what that Texas man did. God did not allow him to do that. Allow bad things to happen. Well, God, you allowed it. He saved that man. God's not here, I guess. The last thing I wrote down in that scene is God's not here to stop us or to stop bad things from happening. God's here to save us once they do. Lanny, remind the church of that. And I wrote it down. And I'm here to tell you that God said that. You know, so what a powerful piece that was. And there's more to that. The story's more. There's more. So, check in with me in another 10 minutes. Give me 10, 20 minutes. And I'm going to go into like part 2 of the story because it continues. So I wasn't shocked that God was the heart of heaven. And space and grace and mercy is so true. And how the Texas man is singing a praise of God in a way that even I'm not. And the reason why is because he politized, to me, I'm going to make that word up right here on the porch. He politized this Texas man. This Texas man murdered people on the way out. How can he be singing in the Lord's choir with a pitch that's greater than even mine? How is that even possible? Because this man has been politized. Y'all remember what happened to Paul in the Bible? Would have been no different a crime had Paul, the mercenary of Christians, smoked them out of a building and shot them all with a shotgun. You know, that's a horrible story. Maybe that was Paul's story. I was killing Christians. Paul's a big mouthpiece in the Lord's kingdom. And I know that that's what he was showing me that happened to the Texas man last evening. Was he's a powerful piece in the kingdom. Now, yes, what he did. But also, it's also about what the Lord did. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that part 2. So this is great. So anyway, join me. Refresh your coffee. Join me in a couple minutes because I'm going to keep telling the story. All right?